With players like Jesse Lingard and Martin Odegaard using loan moves to revive their careers this season, we're using today's video to look at 10 more players who changed their fortunes with a temporary switch. Welcome to Football Daily, and let's get into it. 10. Diogo Jota to Wolves. If there's one side making good use of loan-to-buy agreements, it's Wolverhampton Wanderers. The Midlands club have used temporary transfers to bring in Raul Jimenez, Johnny Otto, Leander Dendoncker, Willy Bolly and Diogo Jota since 2017, ultimately making all those moves permanent for a combined £93 million. Not bad for half a Premier League starting 11. Jota arrived from Atletico Madrid when Wolves were in the Championship, and having never appeared for his parent club, he must have worried that his career at the highest level was over before it began. But in Nuno Espirito Santo's 3-4-3, Jota had a showcase for his attacking threat and defensive intensity, and in 44 league games in 2017-18, he scored 17 and assisted 5, prompting Wolves to make the switch permanent for just £12 million. The next season he grabbed a further 14 goal involvements in his first top-flight campaign at the age of 22 to attract interest from Liverpool, and when the Reds swooped in 2020, it quadrupled the price Wolves paid. From Atleti outcast to a regular at one of Europe's best clubs in the space of 3 years, Jota must be happy with his progress, even in an awful season at Anfield. 9. Mateo Kovacic. Back in 2015, Barcelona were the reigning champions of Europe, but Real Madrid seemed better prepared for the future. Los Blancos had a superstar first 11 and had set about strengthening the squad, bringing in 21-year-old Mateo Kovacic from Inter Milan for £34 million, while they would add young players like Danilo, Asensio, Vázquez, Odegaard, Ceballos and Theo Hernandez over the next 2 years. Unfortunately, not a single one would become a nailed-on starter, and Kovacic's development in particular was curtailed. The Croatian won a title and 3 Champions Leagues with Real, but started just 37 league matches in 3 years, playing around 36% of available minutes despite outstanding stats, with over 3 dribbles and 4 tackles and interceptions a game. So it was a relief for fans of the midfielder when Chelsea loaned him in 2018, with Kovacic helping the side win the Europa League before signing permanently for the Londoners and being named their Player of the Year in 2019-20. Once again among the most dynamic and press-resistant players in his position, Kovacic is finally getting regular football again at the age of 26. 8. Duván Zapata to Atalanta. If nothing else, Duván Zapata shows that it's never too late for a player to achieve stardom. The Colombian's career was faltering back in 2017, having failed to establish himself at Napoli following a £7 million switch from Argentinian side Estudiantes. Given just 1,200 minutes in 2 seasons with the Partenopei, he was loaned out to Udinese for 24 months, and though he would hit 10 goals in 2016-17, it was just the second time in his career he'd managed double figures, a worrying sign for a striker already aged 26. Another 11 strikes followed the next season with Sampdoria, but again it seemed Zapata's ceiling was mid-table competence, until Atalanta took an interest. Loaning him with an option to buy, Gasperini gave the forward quality support in Ilicic and Papu Gomez, and his output exploded, with 3.7 shots and 2 key passes a game, huge climbs in his previous numbers. He hit 23 league goals and assisted 7 more as Atalanta finished third, and bagged 24 goal involvements in 2019-20, helping the club into the Champions League quarters as his move became permanent. In all, Zapata has contributed to a goal every 93 minutes at the club, and almost doubled his career tally in the space of 3 years. A superstar made in Bergamo. 7. Thibaut Courtois to Atletico Madrid. Signed by Chelsea in 2011, Thibaut Courtois arrived in London just 19 years old, but with over 40 top-flight appearances and a league title under his belt. At the time, he faced an immovable object in the Blues' goal in the form of legendary keeper Petr Cech, and could have spent the next few years on the bench, but fortunately Atletico Madrid were on the hunt for a new stopper, having just sold their own promising youngster, David De Gea, to Man United. The 6'7" Belgian moved to Spain on an initial 12-month loan, and after 4 clean sheets in his first 6 matches, was called up to the national team for the first time. By the end of the campaign, he was his country's #1 and a Europa League winner, and Atleti extended his deal for a further 2 years, during which time Courtois won the Copa del Rey, a league title, and reached the final of the Champions League, missing just 3 games, recording 55 clean sheets, and allowing 94 goals in 111 domestic matches. That saw him displace Cech at last back in London, and Courtois won 2 more titles before switching to Real Madrid in 2018, where he has since earned the 5th domestic crown of his career. 6. Tomas Soucek to West Ham. Our list may have been inspired by Jesse Lingard's career revival, but West Ham teammate Tomas Soucek may be an even greater beneficiary of the loan system. The midfielder has scored 9 league goals this season, the same as Rashford, Sterling and Aubameyang, and has helped the Irons into Champions League contention, a future he couldn't possibly have imagined even 18 months ago, when, at 25, he was still playing in the Czech First League. Having joined Slavia Prague at 10, Soucek spent 15 years with the club, winning 2 titles, but it was only in 18-19 that he really blossomed, netting 13 league goals to finish as the side's top scorer and winning the division's Player of the Year award. That could have been a fluke, but the following campaign he did it again, this time hitting 8 goals in half a season, and West Ham, then 17th and only outside the relegation zone on goal difference, brought him in on a 6-month deal with an option to buy. Soucek scored 3 over the run-in and 1 possession over 4 times a match, prompting the Hammers to make the move permanent for £19 million. With a current rate of 1.7 points per game with Soucek compared to the 1 they managed without him, it has to rank among their smartest signings ever. 5. Kyle Walker to Aston Villa. Signed from Sheffield United in 2009 for £5 million, the teenage Kyle Walker was a great prospect but initially struggled to make an impression at Tottenham. In his first 2 years at the club, he made just 3 top-flight appearances and was loaned back to Sheffield and to QPR, who he helped in their promotion chase in the first half of 2010-11. That still wasn't enough to displace Alan Hutton at White Hart Lane, and next Spurs sent Walker out to Aston Villa in January. The Englishman responded in style, grabbing 4 goal involvements in 15 games, winning possession 5 times a match and completing 1.7 dribbles per 90, still the best mark of his career. He was so good that his first senior England call-up came during the loan, and Tottenham brought him back for the 2011-12 campaign so confident in his quality that they sanctioned the sale of Hutton to Villa for £3 million. In his first year as a Spurs starter, Walker missed just 1 game, made the PFA Team of the Year, and was voted Young Player of the Season, beating Gareth Bale and Sergio Aguero to the award. He would go on to play over 200 times for Tottenham, make a £50 million switch to Man City, and win the league twice. 4. Dean Henderson to Sheffield United. Dean Henderson is so talented that he would surely have ended up a top-tier footballer somewhere, but without the loan system, he surely wouldn't have been given the chance to take the spot of one of world football's most decorated keepers in David De Gea. A Man United player since the age of 14, Henderson had loans to the National League North, League 2, League 1 and the Championship, where his 20 clean sheets in 2018-19 helped Sheffield United win promotion and gave the Englishman a shot at impressing in the Prem. On a side expected to struggle, Henderson kept 13 clean sheets, only bettered by Pope, Alisson and Ederson, and he recorded the 3rd highest save percentage in the division, overall conceding 5.2 goals fewer than expected goals predicted, more than double De Gea's 2.1. And so, as Bayern Munich, Juventus and Chelsea were linked with the stopper, the Red Devils resolved to give him a chance at Old Trafford, handing him around a fifth of the available minutes so far this campaign, while he also received a first England call-up. Sure to be number 1 for both club and country one day, Henderson's patience is already paying off. 3. Romelu Lukaku to West Bromwich Albion. We return to Chelsea for number 3. Back in the early 2010s, the Blues used the loan system to test out youngsters, making cheap gambles on prospects and regularly either creating first-team players or generating profit through sales. In 2011, along with Courtois, the club brought in De Bruyne, Bamford, Oriol Romeu, Lucas Piazon and Romelu Lukaku, but across the 2011-12 campaign, those 6 players made just 24 Chelsea League appearances combined. The Belgian striker got 8 of those, but only 158 minutes on the field and no goals, and though just 18, he was labelled a flop and loaned to West Brom. The Baggies had scored 45 times the previous campaign, 7th worst in the division, but their new striker exploded into life, netting on his debut in a 3-0 win over Liverpool and adding a further 16 in league play. He ended up with a hand in 40% of WBA's goals as the club finished 8th, and outscored every Chelsea player that year. Still, his performances failed to sway the Blues, and Lukaku was loaned again the next year, this time to Everton, where he would become the leading Premier League scorer with 68 goals. Now among Europe's deadliest forwards, Lukaku's rise to the top began at the Hawthorns, while Chelsea have spent £267 million on strikers since they let him go. 2. Mohamed Salah to Roma. Yet another Chelsea loanee comes in at number 2. Mohamed Salah signed for the Blues in January 2014, with then boss Jose Mourinho demanding the club beat Liverpool to his £11 million signature. However, that was as far as the Portuguese's faith went, as he handed Salah just 13 appearances over the next year before sending him out on loan to Fiorentina, a decision seen as the end of the Egyptian's Premier League hopes. Salah bagged 9 goals and assists in 10 starts for La Viola, but when they tried to make the move permanent after 6 months, he refused, instead making another temporary switch to Roma. Immediately, the then 23-year-old became one of Italy's best players, producing 46 goal involvements over the following 2 Serie A campaigns and finishing as Roma's Player of the Year in 2016. Fortunately for him, Liverpool had never lost interest, and they returned for the star 12 months later, paying just £37 million for his services. Salah would go on to bring the League and Champions League trophies to Anfield and has scored or assisted 154 goals in 169 starts for Liverpool since. 1. Andrea Pirlo to Brescia. By now, everyone knows Andrea Pirlo's story. The Italian began his career as a number 10 at Brescia before moving to Inter Milan, but struggled to make an impression in that role at the San Siro, playing just 22 Serie A matches in 3 years with the club, despite them finishing 8th, 4th and 5th in that time. Assuming the then 20-year-old was a lost cause, the Nerazzurri sent him back to Brescia for the second half of the 2000-2001 season. But there was a problem. The Rondinelle had signed legendary playmaker Roberto Baggio to augment their attack, and with the divine ponytail occupying the offensive midfield slot, there was no place for Pirlo. However, coach Carlo Mazzone believed in the youngster and reasoned that his long passing might be useful in a deeper role, deploying him in front of the backline and in the process creating one of the defining players of the next 20 years. Sitting 18th when Pirlo returned, Brescia ended up 7th, the first time they had ended a Serie A season without being relegated in 40 years. And that summer, AC Milan paid €17 million for Pirlo, not as a 10, but as a regista. 743 games, 6 titles, 2 Champions Leagues and a World Cup later, it remains the best loan in football history. So those were our 10 loans that transformed a career, but what did you think? Who would you have included? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, drop us a like and subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell to never miss a video. We'll see you next time.